Erin Edgar, Attorney and Counselor at Law, Part 1, Overcoming with a Purpose. Daily Dose of Daryl, Viewers Digest, May 16 through May 22nd, 2022. Open the info section and see where to fast forward, and realize we have QR codes for both the Motivation Bureau and the website. Erin Edgar, a special person I want to introduce to you today. Monday Magic, the real magic's in our heart. Erin Edgar, attorney and counselor at law, and overcomer. Erin Edgar is a very special person that I met through a networking organization. We've never met personally, physically in the same room at the same time, but I've been captured by her intellect and her spirit and her heart of compassion and caring. And I felt like she would be a great person to interview on my channel. Kind of fill us in a little bit about your journey in life and sort of how you got to where you are now and any challenges you faced.
Well, thank you, Daryl, for that wonderful introduction. And I am happy to be here with you and to share my story and what I do with everyone here for your benefit and in service to the world. So to answer your first question, which, about my challenges or my life story, there are two main things that inspired me to do what I do. And upfront, what I do is I'm an attorney, and my primary purpose is to help families plan for their future and the future of those that they love through estate planning and using other vehicles to do that. And how I got here, with a special interest in helping families with special needs children, which the old term used to be disabled, and even before that we had handicapped, just so people can track what special needs means over the years. I got here through a fairly circuitous and direct route. So the direct way in which I decided that this was what I wanted to do was that I was a special needs child myself. I'm visually impaired. I happen to be totally blind, actually, which means no usable vision, because when people say, "How blind are you?" That's the first question. Totally blind, none. And I was born with this life challenge, and so I don't know anything different. However, I'm aware, most of the world is sighted, and that is the sense that most people rely on. Your visual cortex is the largest sensory center in your brain. And so all of that said, I was very attuned, my entire life to the fact that, number one, I was different from most people, and in the way that I was different. And number two, that there would always be things that I would need that would be necessary for me to adapt to the world so that I could nonetheless, even because of and in spite of my difference, rise to my full potential. So my family was always very keen to understand what adaptations I would need, and always very keen for me to reach beyond what other people perceived as my limitations. So I never really considered sight as a limitation, actually, until I got older, and I started being overlooked or passed over by my peers or by teachers, and it was just assumed I couldn't do things, and that made me mad. So when I decided to become an attorney, that's another story, but when I decided to become an attorney, I knew that I wanted to channel that passion into helping folks who may have special needs that prevent them from working, to make sure that this vulnerable segment of the population had what they needed to live and thrive in the world and not just survive. And so that is what I do in my job as an attorney. I did it both in the nonprofit sector, and now I am able to expand my reach and help more people and families understand that their special needs loved ones have just as much right and human dignity as they do. And after those family members are gone, these special needs people will need some way to thrive and bring themselves and their unique personalities into the world.
Tuesday Truth, translating your passion into helping others.
I, among many others, appreciate the fact that you have found ways to go through that process to get to where you are now and to be so competent. And I want to thank you for that, not only for who you are and what you do, but for the many people you're able to help now. And that's very special. So I have my hat on. It's my trademark, but hats off to you for what you've done. Now, with that being said, you're basically no different than any other attorney except better, because you're not just being an attorney to be an attorney. What I perceive is you have become an attorney with a very strong passion to help people, especially people that may not can help themselves as much as they would like to. But what is estate planning anyway?
Certainly. And when you say, oh, I'm an estate planning attorney, people are like, I don't understand what that is. And it was not something I understood until my second year in law school. I'd never heard the term. So thank you, first of all, for your compliment. And now a short answer to that question is I help people plan their legacy and plan their lives so that they are protected in case they become seriously ill, or in the inevitable event that they pass on, their memories are preserved by letting their loved ones know they love them through the distribution of whatever assets and property that they own. And also, to some extent, their wisdom and memories can be passed on as well. And this is translated, these services are kind of translated into documents that we commonly call our will and testament, or our healthcare directives, or powers of attorney, we call them in North Carolina. And that is what this service translates into. As with most legal services, there are bunches of documents that go along with that.
Wednesday Wisdom. Do you have any ideal clients?
And so do you have any particular ideal clients?
My ideal clients are families who have children or adult children who have special needs. That being said, I've worked with any kind of person you could imagine. I've worked with single people who just want themselves protected and supported should they become ill, or want to pass on their assets and want the peace of mind to know that that's been done. I've worked with, happily married couples. I've worked with divorced couples. But my soft spot are those parents or aunts and uncles or whoever who has a special needs individual in their life that they want to provide for, and that that person can't work, that person can't provide for themselves because of that special need. So that is my soft spot, my ideal client.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday Thrill. How has the pandemic changed life?
And so the services that you render, have they been affected by or elevated by the pandemic that we've been going through?
This is certainly a very good question. I'm glad you asked that. The pandemic is loosening its hold, but we never know when it will regain its hold. I always joke to people that we say before COVID, and that's our new BC. It changed the world in a lot of ways. And one of the things that the pandemic seems to have done, both in my life and in the lives of other people and my clients who have come to me, is made us more aware that we are not in this world in perpetuity. We're not going to live forever, and things may happen to us, such as illness, that are completely out of our control. Absolutely 100%. We never know. And so I've had people come to me and say, look, I'm planning to live a long, healthy life. And at the same time, COVID has made me so aware that life is really not permanent here. And I want to plan for that day. I want to have the peace of mind to know that I'm going to be remembered here and that my family and friends will know that I love them. How can we do that?
Friday Flashback. What makes your approach different than other attorneys?
So now, how does your approach to this estate planning thing differ from, say, more traditional approaches maybe used by other attorneys?
Thank you for that question, and I can answer it in a couple of different ways. First of all, my approach is very person-centered. I don't like to say client-centered because I try to treat people, whether or not they become clients on our first go-around together, it's not important. I try to treat people who are coming to me with the same dignity, whether or not I actually help them through the process. But it's a very person-centered approach, and that means getting to know the people that I serve, getting to know them and respect them and understand their lives, who is a part of their lives, and how their life as a whole is running now, and the things that may happen to them in the future, and planning for that. For example, one group of clients that I serve, as I said, are married couples who have children, and one of the things that I do for them is not only wills and powers of attorney for them, but I take their children into account, not just by putting in a will, who should guard the children if the parents die, but also ways in which the children can be protected from being taken into custody by social services if their parents can't be found somewhere. Like something happens to the children, they're in an emergency, they have to go to the hospital, their parents can't be contacted even though it's been tried. Who is going to make that emergency medical decision or approve a decision for the children that may need to be made while the parents are being located? And a lot of attorneys don't plan for that. I think that also when I plan for people with special needs, that planning is a lot more detailed than some of the standard planning you may see out there. I'm asking people questions like, what does your child like to do? What is their typical day like? What kinds of things do they want to do in the future? Where would you all go on vacation if you traveled? And all those things are very person-centered questions that a lot of people would not think would be represented in an estate plan, and yet they can be, because it's going to be important when the family is not around to enrich that disabled individual's life, that their life should be a rich one. And so those things are, very important to ask. So I would say I have a person-centered approach, a very heart-centered approach, and I'm always there for the person who has a question.
Saturday Summary. Saturday Summary. Monday Magic. Meet Erin Edgar and be inspired to face and overcome your challenges. Tuesday Truth. Translate your passion into helping others. Wednesday Wisdom. Focus on people who really need you. Thursday Thrill. Learn from events in life like the pandemic. Friday Flashback. Be unique and different from the masses. Remember to catch part 2 next week for much more insight from Erin Edgar. And remember that these interviews are a special promotion just for you. They're free. Sunday Silence. What new challenges have you faced this week, and how are you overcoming them? Pause and reflect. What have you done this week to translate your passion into helping others? Pause and reflect. In what ways have you focused on people who really need you this week? Pause and reflect. What have you learned from the pandemic, and how have you applied that insight into your life this week? Pause and reflect. In what ways are you unique and different from the masses, and how do you share that with others? Pause and reflect. This is Darryl R. Peebles, the man behind the microphone, bringing you something positive, personal, and professional every day from the Peebles Motivation Bureau. All three divisions, digital, real life, and print division, are active for you. Give us a call and let us know. Locally ordered books, if you contact me directly. Some have already gotten this book and started their journey of growth. Group discounts and special gifts for churches and pastors. I appreciate you, your ideas, and support, so thank you so much. These other areas, I'm actively now serving in those ways, and here are my contact points. This is Daily Dose of Darryl, responding to the free and gracious gift of God. I'm using humor, the art of illusion, modern technology, and decades of serving God and communities to work every day to uncover the beauty in all people and experiences coming my way, endeavoring to educate, entertain, and inspire. Each dose on this channel can help move us toward a better, healthier, and more informed mind, body, and spirit. I'm excited to be a small part of the expanding of our capacity to learn, love, and forgive, and together leave this world a better place for all. God bless you.